Breaking news, South Carolina AD Ray Tanner steps down from his position. What does that mean for the position, for the university, for the athletic department, and for Shane Beamer as well? Locked On Gamecocks starts right now.
You are Locked On Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked On Gamecocks. I'm your host, Chris Marler. It is a very odd show to start here this Friday. We are about 24 hours from kickoff of the biggest game of the year so far for South Carolina before the LSU Tigers come to town. And we've got some breaking news, just a very odd timing with the athletic director, Ray Tanner, deciding to step down. We'll get to all of it and more. I appreciate you guys joining us. I appreciate you guys making Locked On your first listen each and every day. Shout out to our everydayers. Remember, we are a free and available podcast wherever you get your podcasts on any platform, as well as on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by our good friends at Game Time. Remember, download the Game Time app today, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege, all caps, all one word, like you're shouting into the abyss, for $20 off your first purchase. All right, with that being said, let's get into the show. Never a dull day, right? Just never a dull day. First, let's also address the elephant in the room. Yes, I am wearing the same thing that I wear on roughly 70% of the shows. It's good luck. I don't care. I'm not going to apologize for it. I am a man of routine and a man of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Superstition. There it is. Nailed it. No thanks to the GF that's in the background right now. But I'm a man of superstition. We're going to have the same things until they're, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So there's that. All right, here's the deal. Ray Tanner, former South Carolina baseball coach, turned athletic director. I don't think he announced it on Friday, but it became a story that got national attention, obviously, that he is going to be stepping down from his position. The news was delivered by University President Michael Emeritus. There's no chance I'm going to pronounce this correctly. Emeritus on Friday morning, following a meeting by the Board of Trustees. Tanner, he has been the AD since 2012. Okay, tons of scrutiny under Ray Tanner's leadership over the last 12 plus years. I will say, when you look at the body of work, there's three things that you should be judged on if you're an AD in this day and age, right? It's success and winning. The hires that you're making, right? Like I would count those together. Then I would say the facilities and the improvement of the facilities, as well as having the where your NIL and your fundraising type situation is as well. Tanner's been under a lot of scrutiny. You could make the case. I mean, the facilities they have for football alone, the practice facility, everything like that, it's like a $50+ million facility that's a top 10 facility in the country per 247 Sports. I think they do a great job there. Success, you're talking about 3 national championships under his tenure. Now, granted, 2 of them are in one sport, and 1 of them is from equestrian. But that's still 3 national championships. And we're talking about 19 total conference championships. Those are all really impressive feats, But what most ADs are judged on, your hires and your success. And a lot of times in the SEC, that is about football and football only. Now, whether that's fair or not, I don't know. Who's to say? But Tanner decided he is going to be stepping down from this role. He's going to stay in the role until they find a replacement. Now, his replacement, it could be a number of people. There's not a short list they've released. I've got some intel from a source that I trust that I'll go over as well. He's been spot on with everything else he's fed me this offseason, even before I started doing this job. But it said, the president came out and said during the last 2 weeks, we've had general discussions with the conversations with Coach Tanner, the AD. It was his decision to change the position that he has and capacity. I was reluctant to accept his decision because of what he has accomplished and what it means to the Gamecock community. Ray serves the university with such dignity and devotion and sets very high standards in developing student athletes. You know, Will Muschamp really did a lot of damage to Ray Tanner's tenure and legacy. And that's just plain and simple. And it was his own hire. right? He's been there since 2012. You'd oversee some stuff with football where it's like you took over in 2012, and when he came in, you're coming off back-to-back national championships for college baseball. Then you're coming into 3 straight seasons, or you're in the midst of 3 straight seasons for South Carolina, winning 11 wins in a row or more. I think it's just 11 wins in each year for 3 years in a row. One of only 4 teams in the country to do that over the 3 years. Oregon, Stanford, Bama, South Carolina, just elite company that you're in. And like I said, winning 19 regular season conference or tournament championships is no small feat. The timing of it is odd. The timing of it is odd that if you're going to, like what I've been told is it's going to stay on until the end of December. So if that's the case, why is this announced the day before the LSU game? There's a couple of thoughts on that. Because I would think that, why wouldn't you just do it the day before Akron next week? Well, kind of riding high right now, right? So if you are going to announce it, maybe now is a good time to do it. The other part of it is, I'm not going to speculate that's anything going on in like personal life or anything like that. It just seems so abrupt. Maybe it wasn't that abrupt, right? Like maybe it wasn't that abrupt. Maybe it's something he wanted to do for quite some time, because none of us know the ins and outs of Ray Tanner and his family. That being said, I don't know if he is going to name his own replacement, if there's already somebody in place, or if they're going to go outsource that as well. I kind of feel like it's going to come from in-house, and I'll tell you why. I have a few reasons why I believe that. So this is from my source. It says, appreciate everything he did as a baseball coach. His tenure as AD was ... interesting. Curious to see who ends up being the shortlist. The thought always was that Chance Miller was the AD in waiting, but he took the Coastal Carolina job earlier this summer. You have to imagine that new deputy AD, Jeff Crane, is a candidate as he spent over a decade with the university previously from 2006 to 2019. Now, serving this role with the president, it comes with like a pretty massive pay cut. I think he's going to go from making like almost $1 million, like $987,000 to around $800,000 a year. But again, the day before the LSU game is very odd to me. And here's how I think it affects the university. Okay, having a new AD, you've had some stability there. You've been there for 12 years. But here's the thing. Oh boy. Oh, we're getting a text in right now from Andrew Lyon, the former host of this show, to give me some insight on this about why this is happening. I'm talking about like in the moment we have more breaking news. Pause with me for a second. We're going to get Andrew on here. Give me 2 seconds. All right, there's just no off days in regular season, especially when news breaks. This is one of the reasons I love this job. It's crazy, crazy, crazy all the time. I'm just sitting here having a nice little Friday, relaxing morning. I was watching Superstore on Peacock or something, and we get this news. So Andrew Lyon, tremendous dude. Obviously did this show better than anyone. Before I came on here, was the host of the show for 2 years. Just texted me in the middle of this. I asked him to come on. He declined, which is fine because he's got his own thing going on now. But still a great dude. Tremendous help to me during all of this. He sent me this. So he says, this is from Andrew. He said, first off, I hope the school shows they're willing to go bold and not be comfortable. Good luck with the rest of the show. He says, I think the school should pursue a guy whose strengths lie with modern changes in college sports due to coach stability. An outside hire would be significant because of U of SC and good old boy politics have been married to each other for decades. Ton of that around the SEC. Look at Auburn. Chance Miller, AD at Coastal, was raised right-hand man for years, but things make his potential to become the new AD murky, in my opinion. So great insight from Andrew. I think he would know, the ins and outs of this university better than me still. I mean, he's been here for a long time. I think this, when you look at the AD situation, it's murky for a number of reasons. Because here's the thing, like when I listed off, like what makes an AD's tenure, like what is it judged on, right? And now AD hires, they rotate a lot more than they used to. It's not like you just have a guy in charge for 2+ decades. Like Ray Tanner being in charge for 12+ years is a pretty phenomenal situation in the SEC. You look at Auburn, you look at Alabama, like the turnover you've seen there. Georgia just got a new AD not too long ago. These hires are based off of their hires. And what I mean by that is you're going to be judged when it's time for you to re-up your contract and get a renewal or whatever based on who you brought in and the difference it made to the university. This is one thing that I think is concerning if you're Shane Beamer, and you're not going to like hearing this, but just hear me out, okay? I'm not saying that Beamer's on the hot seat at all, because he's not, I don't think, and he shouldn't be, all that kind of stuff. But hear me out when I say this. Those positions are based off of their hires. So it's always good to have a splash hire of your own, because you're going in a situation where you want to be judged off of what you have done. You can't just sit here and go for 3 and 4 years and this time for renewal. It's like, well, I didn't hire anybody, but I think I should have a contract renewal even if things aren't going great, if they're not going great. He could be stepping into an incredible situation, or she, whoever the AD is going to be, right? Because here's the scary part. You look at the 4 major coaches in the 4 major sports at South Carolina. Dawn Staley ain't going anywhere. Besides what? Maybe the WNBA, which I don't know why she would. Like, Dawn Staley ain't going anywhere. Lamont Parrish is going into year 2, and he had arguably the biggest turnaround of any school in the country from year 1 from the previous year. And that's easily the biggest turnaround in the SEC. Easily. He's not going anywhere right away. You just hired a new baseball coach. Oh, and just so happens to be a Hall of Famer, Paul Maneri. He's not going anywhere. So the 4 coaches, the one who's going to have the shortest leash, whether we like it or not, is Shane Beamer. Now, Beamer could win tomorrow. Beamer could win 7 or 8 games. He could win 7 games, which is, again, let's be very clear, that's overachieving for what we thought this team was going to do. And he's already ahead of schedule. Beamer is, I think, out of those 4 right now, he would be the one with the shortest leash because of the length of his tenure. And in comparison, no one's going to compare to Dawn Staley. She's won 2 natties in 3 years. She's a Caitlin Clark away from winning 3. You know what I mean? Like, Lamont Parrish brought you a top 25 basketball team in year 1 and is going to be, I think, even potentially even better going into next year. Baseball should have a tremendous turnaround with the new coach that they have coming in with Paul Maneri. So football, in comparison to those sports anyway, has always had the lower ceiling for wins, but it's where you could make the biggest splash if you're a new AD. I'm not saying that'll happen. What would be ideal, I think, as of right now, as of today, if you're a South Carolina fan, you're looking at everyone else and saying, man, if you have a new AD that comes in here, why would you not want to come here? We got Shane Beamer, who just won 7 or 8 games and took us to whatever bowl, and we were only supposed to win 5. We got Lenora Sellers coming back. We got a bunch of these key pieces coming back. We've seemingly got some stuff figured out. Like, we got Dawn Staley, we got Lamont Parrish. Those are like Final 4 bound and second weekend level type coaches in the postseason for South Carolina basketball, men's and women's. And they got Paul Maneri, who's already won a national championship in this sport and has gone to the College World Series, however many times. Like, these are all very, very, these are championship level coaches. And Beamer, like, not in a rude way to Beamer, but you know what I mean? I think that's big. If you can walk into that, you could, instead of walking into a mess where you have to dig yourself out of it and make all these different hires, it could be a situation where come December, when he finally steps down and they think he's going to finish out his term, come December, you might be in a situation where it's the most stable job you could walk into in the conference, like, for a new hire. Love to see it. Love to see it. It's just an interesting time with how this has been brought up. I'm recording this in Atlanta. It's Friday. It's Friday the 13th. It's September 13th. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. It's kind of spooky crap. I'm recording this from my girlfriend's apartment. She is an Auburn grad. She can tell you firsthand, like, the way that these AD and coaching hires go is there's a lot of crazy stuff behind the scenes. So I don't know what all happened here with Ray Tanner. I do know that whoever they get next should be walking into a really, really good and stable opportunity. And the second part of that sentence is probably way more important than Oh, we'll just do a quick little 8 minutes off the top about Ray Tanner and just be on our own little merry way. Nope, 15 minutes in. Here we go. Before we move on to the actual preview, we got a lot to break down. LSU, South Carolina, very excited about tomorrow. I know y'all are fired up as well. Got a lot of information to send you guys and some picks. Before we do, I want to give a shout out to our friends at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available for U.S. customers. Let's also talk about our friends at LinkedIn. LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board, okay? LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might still be open to the perfect role. Fun fact, in a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Now, post your job for free at linkedin.com/LinkedIn/LockedOnCollege. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, guys, when we come back, we're going to get into the LSU game a little bit deeper, give you our predictions, bold predictions, and score predictions as well. Locked on Gamecocks continues next. All right, more breaking news before we get into the game. This is a wild episode, guys. Wild, wild, wild. As we're recording, I got sent this from the Post and Courier, okay? It says South Carolina's former director of football player personnel is alleged to have committed serious violations of NCAA rules, according to a report on Thursday afternoon. Taylor Edwards, the Gamecocks former staffer who suddenly resigned this summer despite receiving a raise and contract extension in January, oversaw recruiting and worked with the USC's official NIL entity, the Garnet Trust. His tenure could be under scrutiny, according to a report from the state newspaper. There's a report that came out that said the athletic department determined he had committed serious violations of NCAA legislation that constituted the termination of his employment. He was notified in an email from Human Resource Manager Christina Sergey with the subject line reading, meeting with the athletic director. They have the full email here. It says, as previously discussed, the athletics department has determined that you have committed serious violations of NCAA legislation and your contractual obligations to the university sufficient to justify the termination. Now, it says sources close to the situation said that Edwards was immediately fired. This is important. Immediately fired when USC became aware of an isolated, this is in quotes, an isolated incident involving a player that isn't even in the program anymore and never was a contributor when he was here. The same source said it wasn't thought of again until the story broke on Thursday. The hell is going on right now? First off, all I can think of is who the player is. It can't be Jordan Birch, right? Because he played a decent amount, but he would be the one, I think, garnering the most money. The kid, former five-star from Hammond. I don't know. A lot of speculation there. Very weird day. Now, I will tell you this. In my personal experience with cheating and universities that do it, if it's a serious violation, I don't know what the level of seriousness it could be, because it's only one player. And it seems like, from what we know right now, South Carolina did everything with very quick assessments, and then decision making on what to do with this situation. So like, it wasn't like they sat around. He offered to resign on August 1st. If you remember, Darren Ursher was hired on July 8th. It doesn't seem to be something they were even too concerned about. I don't know how much this relates to the Tanner situation, if at all. I would be very hard-pressed to think that South Carolina is going to have any sort of weird recruiting violations that are going to be monumental to this program in this day and age with the NCAA, for one, and then two, with one player who's not even with the program anymore. Stranger things have happened, but stranger things have also happened when the NCAA had more weight and strength behind that emblem, because they do not have that anymore. Regardless, man, what a wild day for Friday news in South Carolina. Let's continue on and get into the LSU game. Now, I'm excited about this game. I've said it a bunch all week. I know y'all are excited as well. As I'm recording this, it'll be the first quarter tomorrow. We'll be kicking off. I believe the weather still says there is 70% chance of rain in the Midlands, in what do you call it? In Columbia, South Carolina. So we'll see. I keep looking at this, and all I can think of, and this is going to be my score prediction, so listen up. I keep looking at this, and I'm thinking, it feels like it benefits, like all matchups outside of offense benefit South Carolina. I think that South Carolina up front is better than LSU up front. I kind of feel that way on both sides of the ball. Now, again, LSU has two first. LSU has two first-round draft picks at both tackle positions. They haven't allowed a sack all year. You look at Will Campbell, who's arguably the best offensive lineman, offensive tackle in the country, going to be a first-round draft pick. I don't know if he matches up against Kennard or Stewart or both, but here's the thing, and I'm going to get fired up talking about this. Campbell has been great. Campbell has dropped his, I think, 86 pass plays where he's at a drop back in pass protection. This season, 0 pressures allowed. He is as good as it gets when it comes to pass blocking and pass protection at the offensive line position, at the offensive tackle position. That's a top 5 pick, day 1 starter at left tackle in the NFL. Will Campbell's a great young man. He's tough. He got honored the number 7 patch as a sophomore. They give out the number 7 to the player that deserved the most. And it's like their MVP at LSU. A lot. Tyrann Mathieu has worn it. Peterson wore it. Like you've seen guys that have worn it for years. Grant Delpit's another one. A lot of different dudes. He got that as like a sophomore. I also know that Will Campbell, going out to Vegas, said out loud that they were not going there to go visit Caesar's Palace. They were going there to get into a fist fight. Brother, you got a fist fight coming on Saturday. And the first time you decided to go get into a fist fight, it didn't go well. You not only lost the game, but you lost the actual fight, like the physical fight inside, especially on the offensive line. You lost. And you lost it badly. All right, we're back. We're having some issues here with the Wi-Fi, of course, because it's bad storms here in Atlanta where I'm at. But here's the deal. You try to pick a fight in Vegas, you get your ass beat. You're going up against a better defensive line at South Carolina. You are. I don't know if they're going to allow any sacks or pressures or whatever because they haven't all season, and that's all great. I do know that Garrett Nussmeier, when he gets in situations where he has to trust his arm over everything else, he makes mistakes. He did it all fall camp. There's a lot of people that were like the joke around Baton Rouge there for a minute was, well, he just threw another interception in practice. Over and over and over again. Shut down Kyron Lacey. They are not going to run the football on you for South Carolina. They're just not going to run the football at all. At all. Just bottom line. I think that if South Carolina can figure out how to get 14 points offensively, 14, I need 2 touchdowns out of you. That's it. I think there's a path to win this game. I think they have to get some short field situations, maybe get 3 field goals as well, maybe get up to 23 total points. I don't know. If you can get to 24 points in this game, I feel comfortable that South Carolina can win it. Now, can they do that? I don't know, because the offense has been really bad. It's great to see what happened a week ago against Kentucky, but that came in chunks. That came in spurts. So how are they going to be able to find consistent success and sustain drives against LSU? That's the question. I need 2+ turnovers from this defense or in special teams. I need 0 turnovers from Lenore Sellers. There's a path to win this game. Let's be very clear. The win against Kentucky was awesome. It was awesome. 31-6. But you still only had 252 yards of offense. You are going to have to move the football consistently up and down the field. You're going to have to make them not stack the box, not bring 1,000 people at Sellers. The last thing that can happen to this team on Saturday is have Harold Perkins in his 8th new position in 3 years at LSU be coming off the edge with his ears pinned back at Lenore Sellers, because that's going to be a long day for him. That's going to be a long day for him. Now, that being said, I feel like this game is going to come down to field position, turnovers, and the things that South Carolina does really, really well. I really do. I think that they are going there. I think they have the better defense. I think that they have better special teams. I think that right now there's more confidence in this team and this locker room at South Carolina than there is in LSU. I think they're also walking into a effing hornet's nest, because at 12 o'clock on Saturday, LSU and their fans and their players and whatever, they can talk all the crap they want all week. Social media, message boards, whatever. This ain't Twitter. At 12 o'clock, they're going to tee up that effing football, and they're going to have to line up and play South Carolina. And I think in that moment is when South Carolina is going to have the eyes of the nation on them, go out and win a football game, get to 3-0, prove everyone wrong once again. This is the reason you came to play at a place like South Carolina. Put this team on the map. Put this team on the map and put your foot on LSU's throat and end their season right now. Because LSU will have nothing else to play for moving forward if Carolina can win on Saturday. They won't be able to play for the playoff. They will have nothing else to play for. Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, that kind of mentality. When you see your opponent with the hands on the hips, or you see them down, you don't help them up. You put your foot on their throat, and you go out and win a ball game. Now, I told y'all yesterday. I'm a man of superstition. I picked Carolina to win the first game by 20+, and they won by 4. I picked them to lose against Kentucky by 4, and they won by 25. So what that tells me my job is, as the host of this podcast, is to keep things the same. So what do I think is going to happen tomorrow? I think LSU wins. And I'm going to say it's 28-24. That is all. We'll be back here on Sunday. We'll hopefully have better internet. I apologize for the internet going in and out. I appreciate y'all. Hope you've had a fantastic week. Listen, this is what we wait all year for, man. This is like all jokes aside, this is what we wait all year for. Those 9 months in the summer and the what do you call it? The winter, spring, and summer, waiting to get to fall. You get 12 precious Saturdays every single fall. Don't miss one. Make them all count. Tomorrow's going to be a special day in Columbia, South Carolina. It's going to be a special day in Columbia, South Carolina. You get game day for the first time in 10 years. Fairgrounds is going to be rocking. Gamecock Park is going to be rocking. I hope all of y'all have a incredible Saturday, an incredible game day. You deserve to. And I hope that on Sunday morning we come back here talking about how wrong I was in my prediction. And then on Monday morning when I go back to work at ESPN Baton Rouge and all that kind of stuff, I get to make enemies with the whole building. So have a great Saturday. Have a phenomenal rest of your afternoon. We will see y'all on Sunday. Cox by 90. Go Cox.